On February 22nd, 1946, in a small village called Texarkana, located between Texas and Arkansas in the United States, a 25-year-old young man named Jimmy Hollis and a 19-year-old girl named Mary Jean were heading out to watch a movie at the cinema. After the movie ended, they got in the car and started driving back to Mary's house. Along the way, they pulled over to the side of a quiet road to talk for a bit. Minutes later, a strange man wearing a white mask appeared. He shone a flashlight on them and pointed a gun. He was standing on Jimmy's side and said calmly, "I don't want to kill you, friend, so do what I say without arguing." Jimmy and Mary got out of the car. The masked man forced Jimmy to take off his pants, then struck him twice on the head so hard that he fractured his skull and knocked him unconscious. The attacker then tried to assault Mary and steal her purse. Mary begged him to leave them alone and said they had no money, but he hit her and knocked her to the ground. When she got back up, he told her to run, and she did, even though she was wearing high heels and couldn't run fast. The attacker chased her, hit her again, and knocked her down. At that moment, Jimmy regained consciousness, managed to stand, and waved at a passing car. The driver stopped, and upon seeing the car's headlights, the attacker ran off. Jimmy and Mary were taken to the hospital, where they stayed for over 12 days. Jimmy was diagnosed with a fractured skull. If you're seeing me for the first time, I'm Abu Sadiq, and I tell strange and mysterious stories from around the world. Today, I'll share the story of Texas's first unsolved murder case, the story of the Phantom Killer. In the mid-1940s, the town of Texarkana had a violent reputation. Murders, thefts, and crimes were common. So, the attack on Jimmy and Mary didn't raise much concern among the police or the public. But that changed a month later. March 24th, the police found two dead bodies, Richard L. Griffin, 29, and Polly Ann, 17, in an Oldsmobile on what was then known as Lover's Lane. Both had been shot in the back of the head. Richard was found between the front seats, kneeling with his pants pockets turned inside out, suggesting robbery. Polly was found lying in the back seat. Police identified the murder weapon as a .32 caliber Colt pistol. Although there should have been footprints, the ground was dirt. Heavy rain had washed them away. With no solid evidence, the police interviewed over 50 people, but nothing useful came out of it. Most thought it was an unrelated crime, not connected to the Jimmy and Mary case. April 14th, another double murder, Betty Booker, 15, and Paul Martin, 16. They were last seen leaving a party. Paul was found shot 4 times in a rural area. Betty's body was found 1 kilometer away in the woods, shot twice. Both were killed with the same .32 Colt as in the previous case. Now, in less than 2 months, 4 teens were dead. All couples, either dating or in love. The town finally began to realize these crimes were connected. People became terrified. Some women and children stayed in hotels while the men went to work. Others bought guns, added locks, fences, and alarms around their homes. The streets emptied out. The local paper, Texarkana Gazette, dubbed the killer the Phantom Killer. Tillman Johnson, a top investigator, said the police were flooded with calls, especially at night, people reporting strangers or noises. Panic spread. No one wanted to be the next victim. May 3. Virgil Starks, 37, a farmer, was listening to the radio at home when a .22 caliber bullet shattered the window and killed him. His wife, Katie, came running from the bedroom, and the attacker shot her in the face. Incredibly, even though her teeth were shattered and a bullet was under her tongue, she managed to escape through the kitchen window, reach a nearby farm, and survive. Her husband, Virgil, died. Over 30 officers responded to the scene. Neighbors shouted from behind locked doors, afraid to open up unless police identified themselves. They found bloody footprints, but they disappeared once they reached the main road. The problem: this case seemed different. The Starks were older, it happened in their home, and the weapon was a .22, not a .32. Yet, police linked it to the Phantom Killer. They even used undercover women to lure the killer, agents pretending to be dating couples. But nothing happened for 2 months. The killer vanished. Life slowly returned to normal. The police had 2 main suspects. One, H.B. Doody, a college student who died by suicide, leaving behind a note. If any of you had committed 2 double murders, you'd take your own life too. I'm the one who killed Betty and Martin that night, and I killed Virgil. I tried to kill his wife too. His cousin, Dr. Johnston, a psychiatrist, said Doody had ties to all the victims. He worked at the same cinema they visited, went to the same school as Betty, and knew people connected to Virgil's wife. But police weren't sure. Doody had mental issues and may have falsely confessed for attention. 2. Ewell Lee Swinney, a 29-year-old ex-con. Every time a murder happened, a stolen car was reported and later found abandoned. One such car, reported on June 28th, was traced back to Swinney's 21-year-old wife, Peggy. When arrested, Peggy said, "My husband did all the killings. The night before Betty and Martin's murder, we parked and drank beer. He left the car for an hour, I heard gunshots, and he came back in a rush." Later, she gave a different story, claiming they tried to rob someone that night, and after an argument, her husband shot Martin, then took Betty to the woods and played with her before killing her. Despite conflicting stories, Peggy mentioned details only the killer could know, like where Martin's book was thrown, a fact only one detective knew. Eventually, police arrested Swinney in Atlanta, trying to sell a stolen car. He denied everything, so they gave him truth serum, a chemical injection believed to force people to speak honestly, but the dose was too high and he fell into a coma. The verdict? Peggy got a short sentence for car theft and was released. Swinney was sentenced to life for auto theft, but was released in 1973. The Texas Supreme Court said that wasn't enough reason for a life sentence. He lived 21 more years and died in a nursing home in 1994. The Texarkana Gazette later wrote, "The Phantom Killer caused fear and chaos, but also brought the community closer." Crime rates dropped dramatically during that time. But one question still remains. Was the killer someone living among them, or a stranger who disappeared forever?